Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lock Pod. We're Belgium's top-rated podcast and the most dangerous podcast in Indiana.
You like that?
It's cute when we give ourselves our own nicknames.
Yeah. Well, hold it. Belgium's top-rated podcast. It was factually correct.
Is it still factually correct?
No,
I mean,
it doesn't matter. They're still following us.
You know what?
Somewhere
Dude, ignorance
in
is
Belgium.
bliss, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like
Antwerp, Brussels,
right?
whatever.
Top-rated podcast. It was at one point. Just
Ignorance
never
is
check again.
bliss. Maybe that should be our
That's the
subtext.
last time.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. There you go. That's our
There you
title
go,
of our
John.
show.
In
Ignorance
10
is
seconds,
bliss. Right?
Mhm.
Right
There
off
it
the
is.
bat.
Boom.
And then
Pow.
Belgium's top, and then the most dangerous podcast in
I
Indiana,
kind of like that little
as evidenced by the Indy Star front page article. The most dangerous podcast.
dangerous to
in
whom?
Indiana.
Us or
It's dangerous
right?
to average Hoosiers.
Self-detrimental.
Hoosiers are in danger every time we appear on Tuesdays and Fridays.
we're here.
Season 8, Episode 6. Morning, John.
Good morning.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Jill, I learned something about you today.
Ooh.
Jill doesn't drink studio coffee.
This is true. She only gives it to us.
What the heck?
That
you
sounds
don't
like a title right there.
you don't drink coffee, Jill?
I usually do Starbucks.
You stop
like
by
you-
Starbucks in the morning. You don't bring it for us. What the hell? I'm drinking this shitty
I mean, I'm
studio
not on the
coffee.
payroll, so.
I'm drinking shitty studio coffee, and you went to Starbucks. What do you get at Starbucks?
I don't mind the studio coffee. It's not as good as Starbucks, though.
I usually do the brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso.
Whoa.
What
That
is
sounds
that?
way too
Is it all
complicated for
espresso?
me.
Is that like espresso water or espresso in that milk? Is it like a latte?
No, it's not like a latte. Looks like a large portion of espresso before you kind of shake it up.
Cold or
Cold.
Cold.
It's iced,
Really?
yeah.
Whoa.
How about you,
Even
John?
in winter, you go
Even
with
in
cold.
winter.
John, what's your Starbucks order?
I don't drink coffee, so I'd get a hot chocolate.
Okay.
All right.
Kevin, you learn a lot about people with
Delicious.
their Starbucks order. Kevin,
I get a, depending on the time of
Americano.
year, depending on the time of year,
It's Americano.
I get a tall, hot or cold or iced latte with soy milk.
No Americano anymore?
Sometimes I'll go Americano. I'll go Misto too.
My
Cafe
guy-
Misto.
My guy changed his order.
Little Americano sometimes, Cafe Misto sometimes, but the go-to is tall latte with soy.
In any relationship, you got to know what your partner in life is drinking.
All right.
I thought you were down with Americano.
You were half right. I mean, I can still get Americano,
Yeah.
but
That's a lot of soy.
I do like the soy milk in it over the almond or regular milk or oat milk.
I ordered coffee.
Coffee?
And sometimes I order a latte. But the other day, so
Wait a
check
minute. When
this
you
out.
say that you order coffee, you just get the regular
Pike
brew?
Place.
Really?
3 creams, 1 sugar.
Wow.
Old school.
Yeah, it is.
And if I'm really tired, I drink it black because it's
Whew.
painful, and I just
You guys
guzzle
drink
it.
this stuff black.
Yeah, I
and
do-
I don't know how
I
you
usually
guys
drink
do
black.
it.
Painful. It's painful.
It is. I mean,
That's what you do.
unpleasant.
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying myself here.
Outside of
I'm
Starbucks,
staying away.
I'll drink black.
So
I guess
It's rough.
skim in my Dunkin' Donuts.
So check this out. So I'm there the other day, and I do my normal order.
Sure.
Starbucks,
Pike's Place.
3 cream, 1 sugar. They give me a drink, and I
Mm-hmm.
start driving off. Wrong goddamn drink. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's all fuzzy and it's like light colored,
Oh.
and it's got like foam on the top. And I'm like,
Oh.
whatever. I mean, I'm already driving.
Yeah,
I'm
you're in.
like,
It says Phil Talon on the side.
yeah, super, super sweet. No, I drink it and I'm like, what the hell is this? It was a caramel macchiato. And it was freaking delicious.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure it is. It also
Holy
has like
crap, I'm changing my drink.
25 teaspoons of sugar in it.
It was so good.
Of
Like, what
course.
the hell am I drinking this
I mean,
nasty ass coffee for?
you
all
like
the time?
candy too, but I mean, it's not like you should have it,
It
in the
was
morning.
so good. God.
Yeah, cocaine is good too.
Cocaine in the morning, even better. Never done it in my life. Thank you, everybody.
Back to Pike Place.
Pike Place.
That was your
Pike Place will
one-time
work.
treat.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Dangerous.
I don't know. Like, from now
You
on.
and all the 13-year-old girls and Phil.
And Phil.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep an open mind on caramel macchiato from this point forward.
You should
though.
try the peppermint mocha. Also
Really?
delicious.
Jill,
Boy,
I'm going to hang out with
these
you.
are
at
some.
Starbucks.
These are some sugar.
See, I go to
drinks.
Starbucks and order the same shit every time.
Me too.
It's never good.
Too much sugar there.
Yeah.
Be careful.
The
Gee.
medicine ball tea. I was getting sick I thought I was getting sick a couple months ago. Delicious.
I'm
They
still
have
a
They
medicine?
mint.
make it with they make it with lemonade instead of water,
Mm.
and it's like a peach tea and some kind of like jade mint.
I'm still a mint majesty, but
Delicious.
if I'm going tea.
Hey, do you guys remember the Got Milk campaign?
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Was that all BS? Like, do we need this much milk?
Dude, my kids
In
don't
our
drink
diet?
milk at all. Do yours?
They didn't, and now they do.
My kids
they
don't
eat
drink milk.
2 gallons of milk in the fridge. If the kids
Dude,
are home, gone.
we have the
Oh,
small
really?
one. I'm the
Yes.
only one that drinks it. I have the
Yes.
small one, and I don't even finish it in my house. Do you
That's
drink
all
milk?
I drink.
I like a
Pretty
glass of
much
milk.
water, aside from like coffee. water or milk, I've never broken a bone.
But
I've never broken
John,
it.
answer
Well, I
your
drank milk
question.
as a
I'd say
kid,
no.
though.
We don't need that much milk.
I know,
don't think we
dude.
do. I mean,
like
it's
I drank milk like crazy as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah.
They really sold us.
We
They had our
listened to
parents
good
convinced.
marketing.
And I'm still good for like a small bowl of cereal.
No, I like cereal.
Yeah.
But my
Yeah,
kids
put
don't
milk
drink
in that.
milk. Like I guzzled milk when I was a kid.
Me too.
Still do.
Yeah.
Wow. See, it's marketing.
Dairy.
Wow.
The dairy farmers are happy to hear that.
Hey, John,
Hey,
could you play the breaking news?
Oh,
Ooh.
wait. Before we do, can I do one
Absolutely.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to forget. I saw Drew Fox yesterday, 18th Street. He gifted us this wonderful Spirit Thief Selection single barrel bottle of bourbon
That's
for the
awesome.
studio. He said, I want local bourbon
Super
in
cool.
there. So thank you,
I can't
Drew.
wait until weed is legalized in Indiana and people start gifting
It's
us
just a
weed,
bag.
right?
A bag
Why
of
do
weed.
we never drink any of these spirits that we have in
They
here?
You can drink-
adorn the studio.
I know, but like I guarantee you, if somebody gifted us legalized cannabis, it would
It'd be
not be
gone?
sitting in a studio.
It would not.
It would not be sitting in a studio.
All
But,
right.
like,
Well, I mean, I'll start drinking it.
yeah,
I mean, it's just a
think
little
we could-
early.
Could
but-
like
Put
empty
in your
bottles.
coffee.
Yeah,
There you
dude.
go.
It's like drink it.
And we have
people are giving us
Don't
booze.
forget, we got this. We got the flask.
If people give us gummies,
Zach
I'm
gave
eating
us
that.
that, I
I'm
think.
eating it. Okay, like you guys get all this booze and you're doing nothing with it. We're like
it
drowning
just looks
in booze.
so nice.
We're
You can
drowning
keep
in
the
booze.
bottle.
It would look great if it was empty, right, Joe?
Yes,
that's true. I got this
absolutely.
tequila over here.
It is
still.
offensive. All these people giving us all this booze. I guarantee you, like I said, down the road, one day it's going to be legalized, and I will not sit it in the studio,
All right.
wasting away.
We'll
Okay.
remember that.
I'm not a drinker, though. so
That'll be
this is on
interesting to
you.
see who like gifts us weed. Oh,
Oh.
Dr. Foyt will gift us weed.
breaking.
That
news.
is not
If
the
it-
breaking news.
Oh,
Breaking news. Oh, Kevin, you're supposed to do this part.
I don't know what the breaking news is. Breaking news.
Are you not on the note either?
Breaking news on Lockpod.
Mayor McDermott filed for re-election
Whoa.
for a sixth term, quietly.
Whoa.
Who saw that
Sixth
coming?
term.
I know, right? I did not see that coming. I saw a couple other things coming.
It's
Sixth term.
exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
I did it like low
What an accomplishment.
profile.
I think that's pretty cool.
I walked
though.
in.
I, mean,
I
who
had a
gets to say
mustache on. They
filed
didn't even
for their
recognize me
sixth
in
term?
election board. I know.
You had a mustache.
No mayor in Hammond's history has ever filed for a sixth term.
Wow.
Fact.
That's not true. One has. You.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's
other than
Kevin.
Me. Other than me.
Yes.
I was like, Kevin's like, that's not true. I'm like, holy crap.
No. That's awesome, by the way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sixth term. I mean, I would say there's probably a few people just in general outside of even mayor, right, that can say, I've served 6 terms.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Congress people.
Yeah, legislators a lot of times will
Yeah.
serve a bunch. But
Right,
'cause they're-
legislators, right.
Especially House, because they're 2
Right.
years on, 2 years and stuff.
They'll
But
get 6 terms.
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
But
But
not mayors.
So I was at the election board and walking out, and they have like outside the election board, they have like scorecards, so to speak. They're like big
Like sign-up sheets.
sign-up sheets for everybody that files for all the different offices, and they're separated by city and they're separated by party. And people that are political geeks like us just sort of hang out in that hallway,
To see who filed.
seeing who
Yeah.
filed, and then they speculate, and everybody's pointing at the board, especially on
funny.
the last day of filing.
And
all
the first
political-
and last day.
First and last day, all the politicos from all across the region hang out in this hallway. It's really cool.
And like people will come in and withdraw their candidacy, and then someone will come up and like cross the name out, like they got out of the race,
Right.
And then someone will come in and like, oh my god, they're running.
So I was looking at this board the other day, and I noticed some discrepancies.
Discrepancies?
Some shenanigans, that's a word for it.
Shenanigans
And so election shenanigans.
already?
Yeah.
in Lake County.
In Lake County. So I
There's
figured
gambling in Casablanca.
Lockpod,
Breaking news.
Lockpod was
Yeah.
on the job. Lockpod had a special reporter in the hallway.
Who was that?
It was Lockpod special reporter. It was Kyle.
Oh,
Kyle, I put him on special assignment.
nice. All right.
Kevin, I'm making this shit up.
I was
Oh,
gonna
right?
say,
Does
that's
Kyle
fine.
still work
he's
for
like,
us?
I didn't
yeah,
even know
Kyle works for us. Kyle
Wow.
working hard, but Kyle, I put the Lockpod reporter on it, and they were snapping pictures and they were reporting back to Lockpod Studios. We were doing it in real time. It was like a real news operation, and this is what we came up with.
You fooled me.
I know. I was like, it's on the script, dude. So anyway, I'm out there and I'm looking at this is City of East Chicago, okay? And they have and I know that people that are listening, you're just gonna have to like East Chicago is like old school political
Like if you want to know what politics was like,
in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
It's
Chicago,
still like
it's-
that.
it's
in
rough and
Chicago.
tumble.
It
It's-
is. So you have one vacancy and they'll have 25 people running for
Yes.
it. You know, just crazy. East Chicago politics is famous for its. Back in the day, it was famous for its corruption. Now it's just famous for like.
just kind of like
Rough
I don't
and
know.
tumble.
Yeah, rough and tumble. It's like I don't want to call it a sport, but it's fun. It's all
It is
there's
like a
always
sport.
just like there's just a community that loves politics.
a bunch of political people live in
Yes.
East Chicago, and it's like a sport.
I'm already annoyed by this roster that we're
Right.
showing.
Right.
That's a good call. Roster.
It's a roster. Good job, Joe. So and East Chicago is a Democratic town. So one thing you'll notice when you look at this board, there is, let's say, 20 people running for different offices in the Democratic Party, and on the Republican side, not a single name, not one Republican in all of East Chicago. So
and like in most parts of the state, it'd be the flip.
so like in council at large, you pick 3 of them, and so 3 people are going to win, and it's going to be 3 Democrats that win, right? And now people want strategies because you can't just put Tom McDermott down, right? Because that's boring as shit, right? So you got to come up with something catchy, right?
You are going to where I am annoyed.
You got to go with something catchy, like you got to be like. If I'm Reverend, I'm putting like Tom Reverend McDermott, right? Because that's the
Padre.
Rev, right? Padre, whatever your nickname is, right? So people are like, now that I can't just go with Kevin Smith, right?
Right.
You got to come up with something catchy. So like, what a lot of people are doing is coming up with like, hey, I was a coach.
Their nicknames.
That's my nickname.
And just so the listeners out there know, Indiana law allows you to put a nickname on. So if you're like James, Jimmy, or James, Jim Smith, you can put Jim.
Or Kevin,
in
if you were
quotes.
like Coach Kevin, and kids in the community see you and they're like, hey, Coach. Like, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Happens to me all the time. Like, I coached hundreds of kids in baseball over the years, and I see kids, usually they're in trouble, or they work for me, but like, hey, Coach, how's it going? I'm like, hey, what's going on? So-and-so, great to see you, love you, and give them a hug, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a great relationship with the kids I coach. But so in East Chicago, I noticed something peculiar. Is
In this race,
in
peculiar.
the at-large race, there's 3 people running with the coach nickname.
Maybe they're on a ticket.
And one
Maybe it's
person-
a slate. Their coaches are running together.
And one person in the council district 3 with the coach nickname. So you got 3
Whoa.
people, and 3 people are going to win this race. You got Ezel, Coach Foster,
Coach
E.
E.
Foster, Kenny, Coach Monroe, and you have Vanessa, Coach V. Hernandez Orange. And then, of course, down
coach
in the
ticket.
down in the council district 3, you got Andy, Coach AJ Rodriguez.
Wow.
Of course, you got Rich Rodriguez in that race as well.
Oh,
'Cause
that's
so basically, what I'm trying to say is,
if you want to vote coach, you have a whole slate.
yeah,
You could just be like, I'm voting the coach.
because a lot of
slate.
times, like if there was a Tom McDermott or a Tom McDonald or Joe McDonald in Hammond, the politicos would try to file that person because they think it's confusing for people. So like if people were going in to vote for Tom McDermott and they saw Jim McDonald, they'd be like, which Mick is it?
So
Is it
what's your-
McDermott
so
or
what's your-
McDonald?
So
Which
what's
one?
your nickname? What nickname are you going to use?
I'd probably use the mayor. People call me mayor all the time.
Yeah, for a long time.
Everywhere I go, people call
Tom,
me mayor.
in parentheses, Mayor McDermott.
See, like I go to
You can-
Highland. I go to Indianapolis. People are like, hey, mayor. That's what they call me.
I don't think. Can you? I wanna,
They're not my constituents. People all over the state call me this.
I
So
gotta
like,
look up that statute if you can use the office. I don't think you can use the office as a nickname.
I'm not using the office. That's my nickname. My nickname is mayor.
America's Mayor.
Kevin. for
Tom,
pe-
America's Mayor McDermott.
I like the way you're talking. People have been calling me this for 20-something years, Kevin.
Wow, it's true. I mean, I
So
I
on
even
the
call you
election,
mayor.
I'm going to refile Tom,
Oh, you're gonna amend your filing?
the mayor,
Oh,
McDermott.
God, don't do that.
No, just
Why?
Do, how
I
about
can't
do,
vote for
Can you do
then.
coach?
It's a principle.
Can I do coach,
Tom, coach,
Mayor
McDermott?
coach.
Mayor coach, America's mayor. That is a good one.
There you go.
Right.
And what's the strategy here with like 4 coaches on this again?
I don't know the strategy with 4 coaches. I think the
Yeah.
strategy with coach is like that's how they're known.
Well,
Right.
unless the strategy on the at-large race is to confuse people, because one person probably uses coach all the
Yeah.
time, and then they file all these other people with coach, and you're like, which coach am I
Right.
voting for?
I know
right?
that at least 2 of those people have been candidates before and have used the coach nickname.
What an area.
Well, how about this
Shit
one?
show?
Honestly,
Okay.
what an area we live in.
Okay, but this
Well-
is great. So, like, using the same philosophy, there's other nicknames I noticed that weren't so good. Okay, this is in another city. This is in Gary. Okay, Gary.
Oh,
Unfortunately, in Gary, this is a city that's been plagued by violence since the 70s.
Well, and if you remember when Senator Melton was on, who's a candidate for mayor in Gary, we asked him what is the number one problem in Gary, and he said crime.
Yeah, he was
Violence.
right.
Yeah.
So, like, Gary is a city that's been plagued by violence. I'm not blaming any single person. It's just been a city it was at one point the murder capital of America. So this is a city that's been plagued by violence. And, also very political city.
Oh, yeah.
Also sporty. Also the same kind of, like East Chicago. If you have a caucus in Gary, there'll be 30 people running for one spot. And so using the same strategies in Gary, people are using nicknames there. And I noticed in Council District 2, there's a gentleman running for councilman that's using a nickname I don't think is going to help him win. His name is Dwayne the Hitman Halliburton.
Whoa.
Unless you're a boxer or you're an MMA fighter, I'm not sure this nickname is going to help you in politics.
Do you think he had to get permission from Bret Hart to use the Hitman?
Well,
Maybe.
Thomas Hearns? Thomas Hearns, right?
Yeah.
The Hitman Hearns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thomas the Hitman
Never heard of
Hearns.
him.
That was when I was
Boxer
young.
in
He
the
was
80s.
great. Marvin
Awesome.
Hagler. Yeah,
All
he
the
was
time.
great.
Many.
But like the Hitman, most people associate Hitman with somebody that kills other people.
Yeah, I think so.
All people do.
Yeah.
All people associate.
Unless
Not
you're Thomas
most.
Hearns, right? Unless you're a boxer. Most people, when they hear the Hitman,
Yeah.
it's like somebody that murders other people. And
for
Dwayne
me.
Halliburton is like, I want to win. I know just how to do it. I'm going to use
Threaten people.
the
but-
nickname of an assassin.
But
Yeah,
people are
the Hitman.
stupid, and they're gonna say,
I
that's clever. I'm gonna go with that.
I swear, if this guy wins, I'm quitting the freaking party.
So-
I don't know that. Don't make that statement.
I will quit the freaking Democratic Party if
happen.
Dwayne the Hitman Halliburton represents one of the
Council
more
District
violent
2
cities in
in
America.
Gary.
That would make me want to barf. Like,
So something to remember, and maybe like folks that listen from different parts of Indiana may not know this, but Lake County. So you couldn't use a nickname or like in Lake County, you don't get put on the ballot alphabetically. Most counties in Indiana, it goes alphabetically. In Lake County, there's a lottery where all the people that are in your race go into a bucket and they pick them out randomly. So it's just not like. So in other words, you can't like get a nickname to Aardvark or something. I think
Alpha.
you're going to go.
Aardvark, Tom Aardvark McDermott. Like, what the fuck?
to be first on the ballot.
There's a strategy behind it. Thank you, ma'am. Do people really
What?
call you Aardvark, Mayor?
Look where I am on the ballot.
Yeah,
Number one.
I'm at the top. I'm like by myself, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and do some ads, and then we're going to jump into GOP-led Missouri House of Representatives
Oh,
votes
that's a good
against
one.
the right to bear arms.
All right.
So they voted against the right to bear arms. That's all I'm going to say. So we're
Stay
going to come back
tuned.
and talk a little bit Missouri politics. So let's jump right in with Tortillas Nuevo Leon, one of our oldest sponsors, if not the oldest sponsor. Tortillas
school.
Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. They're dedicated to assisting their clients with their systems integration needs. Tri Electronics has the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793.
Calumet Brewing, it's time to experience Michelob Ultra with only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and 4.2% ABV. It's the perfect way to start the new year and keep those resolutions in check. Whether you're a pro athlete or a daily step counter, the journey is only worth it if you enjoy it. That's why Michelob Ultra brews a light lager that's worth every single sip. So no matter if you're kicking back after a workout or enjoying a day on the slopes, you're sure to enjoy a great beer.
I thought,
Powering them.
hold it. We
Oh,
missed
shit,
customer
there's more on the
insurance.
second
No, I
page.
didn't.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah,
Time
okay.
out.
Sorry, yeah.
Part 2 of mine on page
Yeah.
2.
Powering America.
No,
Okay.
no. Jill has to finish the
Yes,
ad.
Jill.
Why is this not all on one page?
We're pros.
We had
Head
a problem.
over. Hey, head over to the Cal Brew or the Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
There you go.
Okay, Mayor.
Powering America.
See, I used your nickname.
Are you looking for a new career in 2023? If you're a person who enjoys working with your hands in a challenging and ever-changing environment, an electrical apprenticeship might be for you. Earn a competitive wage while you gain valuable experience. Did we mention employer-paid benefits, including health insurance, pension, annuities? If so, visit apply697.com. That's apply697.com. Pow! Sponsoring by Powering America.
When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business, Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 54 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation, visit Rogers, that's R-O-G-E-R-S, Roofing, RogersRoofing.com, or call 219-933-9145. That's RogersRoofing.com, 219-933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
As a reminder, everybody, at 8:10 our time, 9:10 Eastern time, we're going to have Brian Howey. He is the owner, the leader, the publisher, the managing editor. I'm not sure what his title is, but he's been in charge of Howey Political Report since the 1990s,
Yeah,
early
mid-90s, I think.
early
and-
mid-90s.
But like now, what's the new name of the
State Affairs.
State Affairs?
It's brand new, so
State
like if we
Affairs,
struggle
so-
with the name, everybody in Indiana knows what Howey Political Report is because we've all been subscribers and readers. I've been a reader for over 20 years. So Brian Howey is somebody I respect very much. He knows what's going on in the state of Indiana. He knows what's going on nationally with politics. He's interviewed people like Senator Lugar, Joe Donnelly, all the big wigs in Indiana, Mitch Daniels, and of course,
On and on and on.
Mayor McDermott. And
Yes.
he'll be on the show today at 8:10 our time, 9:10. So 15 minutes. We'll be back. In the meantime, we're going to talk to you about the Missouri House of Representatives, and then we're going to talk a little bit of Alec Baldwin. So before we get to Brian Howey, we want to talk about the Missouri House of Representatives does not respect women's right to bear arms, Jill.
I'm so shocked by that.
Missouri state lawmakers can bear arms in the legislative chambers, arms as in weapons, but if they're women, they can no longer show their bare arms under a new dress code rules passed by the Republican-controlled House of Representatives on Friday. There's a woman legislator, State Rep Ann Kelly.
A woman sponsored it?
Yeah, is behind the new regulation. It passed 105 to 51 as part of a rules package. Rule 98 states that at all times when the House is seated, proper attire for gentlemen shall be business attire, including coat, tie, dress, trousers, and dress shoes or boots. Proper attire for women shall be business attire, including jackets worn with dresses, skirts,
Jackets. Have to have a
dresses,
jacket.
skirts, or slacks, and dress shoes or boots.
So jacket must be worn.
Yeah, jacket
That's
must
why
be warm.
you can't bear arms.
Men are required to, defending the policy during a floor debate, Ms. Kelly, Representative Kelly, said men are required to wear a jacket, a shirt, and a tie, correct? And if they walked in here without a tie, they would get gavelled down in a heartbeat. If they walked in without a jacket, they would get gavelled down in a heartbeat. So we are so interested in being equal, let's do this.
Oh, so jackets for women.
Jackets for women. No longer do they have the right to bear arms.
I thought my favorite comment was one of the Democratic representatives, Ashley Ann, said, "Do you know what it feels like to have a bunch of men in this room looking at your top trying to determine if it's appropriate or not?"
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
put that jacket on.
I'm an expert on
We don't
women's
wanna see
clothing.
your
I don't know if you
arms.
realize that, Jill.
I didn't realize that either.
Oh yeah, it's one of my talents. I know what's proper and what's
interesting.
improper. I'm
Okay.
kidding. I'm kidding.
not gonna ask.
What do you think about this, Jill?
I mean, I guess I understand where she's coming from with the equality, but like they don't have anything better to worry about in Missouri.
John?
In Missouri.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was kind of clickbait. I'll be honest. I saw it in the notes.
It worked with me.
I saw it in the notes. I was like, I got to read about this. And then I read about it, and I was like, I don't know. Is this really that big of a deal?
I don't think it is.
I mean,
I'll be honest with you. I believe it.
yeah,
It's a
No
dress
offense.
code, I mean,
It's a dress code.
it's a dress code.
like if you walked into a court, you'd walk into Judge Marissa's court and you're not dressed appropriately. She's going to make sure that.
I think if you had a dress on as a woman with a
So, like, with
professional
shorts,
dress
like
with
with-
no sleeves,
But
I don't see that
think
as
about
like
it though.
in
Think
the
about it.
summer. I
When
mean,
do you walk into a court with short sleeves on?
Well, I don't, but men's.
Would you walk into the?
I don't
judge's
wear.
tank
I don't
top?
walk in with a dress on either. But I'm
But-
just saying, like I mean, I guess, yeah, I would never walk into court without a tie and a jacket on.
Good.
Yeah,
What about General Assembly?
I
If you were a
probably
legislator.
wouldn't. Yeah, maybe a
You would
jacket.
always have a jacket on. And
Yeah, always
a
have a
long sleeve
jacket.
shirt, right?
Yeah, always.
With a tie.
Yeah, I would think if in session.
So why do the women get to walk in and just like be totally comfortable?
I
They
guess
should be
what I-
uncomfortable too.
Well, I guess what I'm asking
women
is
are
it-
always
is
uncomfortable.
it-
yeah, right.
and maybe this is something I don't know about women's dress is that like or women's attire is going to something like business, some sort of business appointment without sleeves. Is that inappropriate? That'd be the question I'd have for women. I don't know the answer.
I
to that.
wouldn't.
You wouldn't what?
You'd always have sleeves.
I would have some kind of sleeves
Right.
on.
I think it's appropriate personally. If you're in court if you're in the legislature,
Yeah.
like I know that there, and I'm not going to mention names. Okay, and I can only talk about Indiana, where there was an issue with a female legislator where she was wearing real skimpy clothes. And fellow legislators, also women, were getting pissed off at her, saying, "I don't want to see that."
Well, I think
cover up.
Yeah, I think skimpy versus like, can you not? Do you have to cover your arms with a jacket? I mean, that's my question. I mean, it seems like you could have a very
think that's just a
professional
general
dress without having your arms covered up with a jacket. But
So there was a video in this article of a lawmaker rallying against this, saying, don't vote on this. But hear me out.
I got to see this.
She is wearing the dress code before they even voted on it. She's wearing a jacket. And then the woman next to her was like, yeah, you go, girl. She's wearing a jacket. So they're ultimately, probably most of them are wearing jackets regardless before the vote.
Like already wearing the jacket.
Yeah.
I would like to see what caused this whole thing.
Me too.
Obviously, some woman walked in and
There's
she
been-
was like dressed provocatively or
I agree with
skimpy
you.
or was showing too much. I don't know. Are you doing that, John?
It's kind of small. I don't think people will be able to see
Can
it.
we hear it?
Really?
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Particular attention, because there's going to be times on this floor where there are things that should not require debate and comment. I contend that these are one of these things. There are times to have your name said, to be recognized, to be called upon.
she's wearing
this
a jacket.
is not
She's
one of
wearing the
those
dress code.
things. There are some very
she didn't wanna be
serious
gabbled
things
down.
that
The
are
woman
in
next
this
to her.
rule package that I think we should be debating, but instead we are fighting, again, for women's right to choose something, and this
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear people equate like during the pandemic, and this is a Republican-Democrat argument in Missouri where the Democrats are saying, it wasn't very long ago in the middle of the pandemic that the same Republican legislators that are requiring women to wear jackets are pissed off that government was requiring people to wear masks.
Yeah,
I
good
think that's a
point.
legitimate point.
Good point.
Same people that were like complaining about wearing masks are now like, you have to wear a jacket. That's legit, right? A legitimate
It's a little bit of
political
it's
point.
a little hypocritical of a point. Yeah, but
It's politics.
Sure.
What they're doing there. And then obviously there's a lot of critics that are also equating this, Democratic women are equating this in Missouri with a war on women, saying that it started with controlling women's bodies, and their right whether or not to seek an abortion. And now they're telling women how they have to dress.
There you go.
I don't know.
The
I'll be
battle
honest
goes
with
on.
you. If I was a legislator in Missouri, I would have voted for it.
Oh,
I would have. Honestly, I think everybody should be dressed in a jacket like you're going to court.
That's what this is about. It's not. No, none of the men are saying this is a war on men, because there's rules for men's dress code in this as well.
I agree with you, John. But I see where the critics are coming up with the points that they're coming up. Do you, John? I mean, I'm on your side on this, John.
Yeah.
But do you also see how hypocritical it is to say I don't want to wear a mask, and now they're saying women you have to wear jackets?
I'd have to give that some thought.
Because that's government telling women how to dress. Which
in the state house. I mean, I guess the question that I do not have answered yet, and is so curious to me in my mind is a sleeveless dress that is a nice dress inappropriate in a professional setting?
How about
I don't know
this?
the answer
How
to
about
that.
this? How about a sleeveless
I think it
dress?
would be.
How about a sleeveless dress with real big like arm holes, and you could like see like her chest and. You could, dude. I could see where they're coming from.
Then I wouldn't say that that's a professional dress.
I
I'm
agree
talking
with
about
you,
a
but
professional dress without
But you're
sleeves.
opening the door, Kevin. You're opening the door to like women to make their own interpretations. And if somebody walks in inappropriately dressed, then
I would just call it dress professionally.
okay.
Do you have to define
Well, I
it?
could tell you,
You do, because people are stupid.
Yeah.
because if you give
Even
people
in the
too much,
State House?
if you give people 2 inches, they'll take 2 feet, dude.
Fair enough. Give them an inch, they'll take a yard.
There you go.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
And
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
John.
let's move. I was just reading that, Kevin. You said your favorite quote was, "Do you know what it feels like to have a bunch of men in this room looking at your top, trying to determine if it's appropriate?" or not?"
I didn't
No
know
one's no one's even saying that.
Wear a
even
jacket.
the rule doesn't say that.
Well, no, but
no
you
one's
can get-
looking
you can
at
get-
your top.
yes,
don't flatter yourself.
John, the speaker can gavel you down and tell you that you're violating the rule. That's what they're
Not
talking
based on
about.
your top. It's based on if you're
is.
wearing a jacket or not.
You're like-
essentially.
I could see your elbow, Miss
right.
Legislator.
Roll those sleeves down on that jacket. I see your forearm.
I can see
Your forearm's distracting me.
I can see how there's so much destruction all over the world, and this is what we're talking
Yeah.
about. You know what I
Agreed.
mean?
It even caught us up in it for 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
right to bear arms. All right, let's move on. We had another issue that I think John's going to be surprised. I'm going to side with him, I believe, on this one also. It's about Alec Baldwin getting charged with involuntary manslaughter, or about to get charged in New Mexico with involuntary manslaughter for when he was on the set of Rust for taking a gun that was handed to him by the armorer, and then he shot at the camera like he was supposed to in that act, and he killed, because there was a real live round in there, and he killed the cinematographer, Hala Hutchins. Tragic accident on the set of Rust. Everybody remembers when this happened. It was about a year ago, and after a year of review of the laws of the state of New Mexico, the prosecutor determined there's sufficient evidence to file criminal charges against Alec Baldwin and other members of the Rust film crew. This is the prosecutor speaking. On my watch, no one is above the law, and everybody deserves justice, which I think is a load of shit. I'll be honest with you. This is all
Santa Fe County.
I don't see how you could charge an actor that's job is to point a gun at the screen and pull the trigger if the armorer, whose job is to make sure there's no live rounds in that gun, that's the entire purpose of the armorer, they hand a gun to Alec Baldwin, and he does his job, which is pull the trigger, and there's a live round in there, and they charge Alec Baldwin with a crime. I think that's a miscarriage of justice, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this because I was thinking, like, how do you get to that point as the prosecutor to determine this? And I guess, looking at it from the other side, from a prosecutor's side, I would think that they believe that they have enough evidence to show there was like a pattern of misconduct or pattern of like negligence that led to this point. And I don't know what those facts are, but it's interesting, and he's got a great defense.
Well, because he's more than the actor in this thing, right? Wasn't he
producer?
Yeah, so if he was just a hired actor.
So you think that's why he got charged, Joe? Because he's the producer also?
Yeah.
So he's culpable because it was so slipshod.
The chain of command, they were saying, this was before, that like there weren't checks and balances with the people they were hiring, and so I don't think it's just.
So you think if Alec Baldwin was not the producer, he would not have been charged criminally?
I don't think so.
That's a good point.
That's interesting.
That's a good
and
point.
maybe it's like a respondeat superior thing where like he's like the.
That's an interesting
or
point, Joe. I actually I wish you were last night because Kevin and I were like, good job. I appreciate that. That's a really good point you make, John.
I mean, after Jill,
you hate
I
Alec
rest
Baldwin.
my case.
Good job, Joe.
Actually.
You hate him because
No.
he plays Trump on Saturday.
No, I'm able to discern.
He said John's like, throw him in jail.
Look, I don't agree with half the things you guys say, if not more than, but I can get along with
We're
you.
still friends.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. His role in Glengarry Glen Ross was one of the best moments in cinematic history ever.
I love that speech.
So I can
Watch
respect
that
it.
movie again.
I
Coffee is for closers.
Oh, it was amazing. He got nominated for like an Oscar for that, and he was only in the movie
It was
for
a
like
cameo.
5 minutes.
I know.
It was unbelievable.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Put the coffee down. I love that.
So
good.
I can discern between the politics
Play
and the
that.
artist. But prior to that producer knowledge, which Jill just mentioned, I was thinking, how could he be charged with this? This doesn't make sense.
It does seem like, if you're going to support a charge of involuntary manslaughter with a duty, right? Like, because it says, it has to be supported by negligence. So in order to have negligence, you have to have a duty. I was trying to think in my mind, like, what's the duty of the actor?
Joe blew the roof off the place.
Yeah, it could be. If that's,
It is.
if that's the rationale.
I think she's dead on.
Because just as an actor, I'm thinking, like, what's the duty of the actor to when they get handed a gun from an armorer whose professional job is to give you the weapon?
Using Jill's line of thought,
Yeah.
if he's the boss of the armorer and he allows this bullshit, like they went out shooting in the desert right before this happened. Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
And they were using live rounds.
Not Alec Baldwin.
No,
Right.
the armorer.
The armorer,
was.
right.
But Alec Baldwin is the producer, is her boss, and should have regulated that type of behavior so that when she comes in, and she's obviously not that smart, and she can't keep it straight whether or not there's live rounds or fake rounds inside the gun, and somebody ends up dying, it's not because Alec Baldwin's an actor, it's because he's a producer. That's honestly, Joe.
Good analysis, Jill.
Kevin and I sat there for 20 minutes last night saying this is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever seen, but that's actually something you can hang your hat on.
I saw the
Jill should be a prosecutor.
I watch a lot of
she'd
Law
be a
and
tough
Order.
one.
Good job, Jill.
I saw the interview or part of an interview with this guy Seth Kenny, who's owns the prop shop, and he squarely put the blame on the armorer. And he was like, she's slipshod. She wasn't doing her job.
So,
she
but
wasn't
he's
being
culpable
responsible.
because he's her boss.
He didn't get charged.
No, what I'm saying is Alec Baldwin is
If
culpable.
that's the argument they're going to make, we're going to find out.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, all right. So we gave you a wide variety of stories. We're going to do some ads, and we're coming back with Brian Howey, who's waiting online right now. So let's go ahead and start knocking off our second round of ads. I'll go ahead and lead off with Misprint Printing. Misprint Printing specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and under budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom, commercial, on-demand printing, sign solutions, and don't forget about those metal business cards. Rick Baltonsberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. They have 2 convenient locations to serve you in Munster and in Hammond.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio. Their brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event like weddings, reunions, or corporate parties. They're conveniently located just off the 8094 exit at Kennedy Avenue South. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu. For more information, check out bywaybrewing.beer.
Prestomer Insurance Company. The Ron J. Prestomer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. The Prestomer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses in all Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron, Ronnie, or Michael at 219-844-0103.
Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured? Are you in trouble with the law? If so, give us a call, John and Kristen Cantrell, to schedule your consultation today with somebody who's in the court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW. That's 219-554-4529. Or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, make a great legal team and are waiting to hear from you.
Thank you to all of our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce somebody I've known for 20 years. I've been in office for 20 years, and I met Brian Howey shortly after I became mayor. I learned a lot about his political part when I was running for office, and I'm very happy to say he's still doing it after 20 plus, actually way more than 20 years.
Almost 30.
He's famous across the state of Indiana. He's often queried on national publications, and he's on LockPod today. I'd like to introduce Brian Howey. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey, Mayor, how are you doing?
Good. It's good to see you. You down in Nashville?
No. I sold my cabin in Nashville a couple of years ago. I'm in Indianapolis.
Are you? Gosh,
Back to the big
that
city.
must have broke your heart to sell your Nashville cabin, huh?
Well, it was part of a retirement strategy, and
Yeah.
I live on a lake on the north side of Indianapolis, so I'm happy.
Good for you. I one of the gems of our state of Indiana, and when I traveled, I loved going through Nashville, Brian. It's the most beautiful part of our state, in my opinion.
It is. I spent 12 years down there and had a great time, but things change and we move on.
Well, thanks for coming on LockPod, sir. And Kevin and I were going through last night a lot of your old political reports, and got some good questions for you. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, Brian, good morning. It was interesting. I was looking around the internet, and I noticed something pretty cool, that you donated all, for the State of Indiana Library Archives, Howey Political Insider, for I think a good almost 20 years worth of, which I thought was pretty cool because you can search it. It's online. And I think I found the original HPI where you quoted Mayor Tom back in November of 03.
Right after I won.
Cool.
Well, I was summoned to Governor Daniels' office, and it was his idea. He said, "Why don't you donate your archives to the state library?" And I did, and so it's all there. I began publishing Howey Politics in August of 1994. So 28 years in, we're
going strong.
I'm providing the first draft of history, I guess.
LockPod's available for the archives if you guys need it.
Maybe Governor Holcomb will ask you
I'm
to
throwing
do
it
that.
out there, Brian. So.
Hey, Brian, I'm always curious because, these things kind of take on a life of their own. Howey Political Insider, the report just became like the go-to for so many years, still is. I know it's changed names, but let me ask you, just going back to like 94, what were you doing then, and what caused you to think, you know what, I'm going to try this and do this report just about Indiana politics?
Well, I had been a newspaper guy for our family is 3 generations. My grandfather, Basil Howey, used to work at the Post-Tribune, owned the Chesterton Tribune for a while. My mom and dad. My dad was city editor of the Michigan City News Dispatch, so I've got region roots.
Nice.
I had followed the newspaper stepladder, beginning with the Warsaw Times-Union, and then the Elkhart Truth, the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, and things didn't work out there, so I ended up as assignment editor for WKJG TV in Fort Wayne, did that for a year, and then it was John Ketzenberger who suggested I start a weekly political newsletter, which I did, and it debuted in 1994. So that.
Brian, you were way ahead of the game, really, because now everybody's trying to emulate what you did in the 90s. I mean, my inbox every morning, I got like 3 or 4 different, people that are trying to emulate what you did. So think about that. You were so far ahead of the game, because in between when you did that and now the newspaper industry has completely crumbled, and here you are still doing what you do.
Well, when I remember, going to the back shop of the Michigan City News Dispatch and seeing all the hot type machines. And then when I graduated from IU in 1978, when I got to the Elkhart Truth, they weren't even computerized yet.
Wow.
We were writing on IBM Selectric typewriters. And then when I began Howey Politics in 1994, the internet was not widely available. So yeah, my career has transcended modern methods of communication. And then Howey Politics was acquired in August by a new national group, State Affairs, which is going to focus its attention on state houses across the nation. And we've brought on 2 Indy Star reporters, Caitlin Lang and Ryan Martin, who's also a Pulitzer Prize winner. So we're starting to gear up here in Indiana.
Well, I tell you, I know Caitlin from when I ran, and she's tough and accurate and very, very professional. And I think that's a huge pickup for your organization, obviously.
I agree.
So is State Affairs, is that the place to go now for what used to be Howey Political Insider and Howey Political Report?
Yes. Yeah, stateaffairs.com.
I noticed online that it looks like they've got Georgia and then they've got Indiana. And Indiana, if you click on it, there's just a whole treasure trove of articles, including, like, I saw Lee Hamilton writing one. I obviously saw Caitlin Lang write several. Mr. Martin did, and you. And so it looks like it's still got all the great information that Howey Political Insider always had, even in that format. Like I saw your top 50 came out, things like that. And I assume that it's a subscription service just like Howey was, and you can continue to get all that great news at State Affairs.
Yeah, there's different subscription levels. So, you can sign up for an Indiana newsletter in addition to Howey Politics, and then I'm considered the pro version of it, and aimed at the insiders. We're expanding into Kansas, and by the end of the year, we're going to be, I think, in 10 different states.
Do you focus just on Indiana yourself, Brian, or are you expanding out to other states as well?
Well, I'm going to work with my colleagues in other states on special projects and that kind of thing, but I'm going to focus on Indiana.
You've been through so many election cycles, Brian. I'm just curious what your favorite is, because right now we're kind of in local elections through this year, mayors and city councils and town councils and things like that. And yet, obviously every year we have a session. What's your kind of favorite thing to report on?
Well, there were two of my favorite election cycles were 1994, the Republican tsunami year, in which Mark Souder, David McIntosh, and John Hostetler won congressional seats. That was, obviously I came on, I had a Luger staffer that was leaking me polling information that allowed me to do some accurate forecasting. And then obviously 2016 and 2020 were amazing years. Yeah. The rise of Trump populism, and then the Biden blowback. And then I guess I would also have to add 2008. That was an extraordinary year with first of all, the Obama Clinton.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Doing
right.
shots at Broncos and that.
That's right.
A razor tight primary win. And then in the fall, Barack Obama carries Indiana's electoral college vote. In the same election, Mitch Daniels wins a landslide victory. And 2008 was also memorable for another thing. Remember the Jackson Jefferson dinner, the state Jefferson Jackson dinner, and you had the banners I think the sheet metal workers, sponsoring that included Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and yet they had endorsed Mitch Daniels for governor.
Yeah.
So
That was a crazy result.
Hey, Brian, the Democratic Party right now, we could talk a whole show about where we are as a party, but, obviously the Democratic Party has seen better days in Indiana. And I have a pretty accurate, in my opinion, when it started, when the downfall for the Democrats in Indiana started. Do you have any idea, what was the precipitating factor that led to where we are? Was it simple just to say Trump, or was it even further than that? Because I have my own theories when things started to slide for the Indiana Democrats. I was wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah, well, I've written extensively about what I call the buy dominoes.
That's why
we all think the same.
2010, which on the eve of the deadline for filing, Evan Bayh stuns everybody and announces he's not going to seek re-election. So of course then they had to move pieces around because it was so late. They moved Brad Ellsworth into the Senate race. They moved Bob Deeg and Trent Van Haften into Senate and House congressional districts and legislative districts, and they all ended up losing. And since then, Bayh always feasted on the river counties, and I'm not talking about just Evan Bayh. I'm talking about Birch Bayh, who would roll up big pluralities along the Ohio and Wabash rivers, and while those counties would could vote for a Bush or Reagan in a presidential race, Lee Hamilton held that district. Frank McCloskey was in the 8th congressional district. And since then, we've watched city hall or county seats, Warwick, Boone, or not Boone, Boonville, Crawford, Posey, Gibson. They've all gone from, Democratic county commissioners and councils and even mayors to they're all thoroughly Republican now. I think that was the death blow to Indiana politics. That was the year that Brian Bosma recruited people like Wendy McNamara, Sue Ellsperman, who won legislative seats, and they were able to control redistricting. They won a majority back in 2012, and then since 2014, it's been Republican supermajorities in the Indiana House and Senate since, and the Indiana Democrats have yet to recover.
I have the same exact answer to that question, and it's probably because I read Howey all the time. But that's when the downfall happened. I totally agree. It was the day Evan Bayh announced, surprising everybody in the state, that he wasn't running again, and we ended up taking two of our brightest stars at the time, Brad Ellsworth, Trent Van Haften, and burning them both in races they weren't prepared to run in.
Forced to scramble.
And they were, by the way, both of them were finished in politics after that. So you took two of our top, brightest young stars at the time and burned them out of the politics at that point, and they haven't been back since.
Nope.
And like Brian said, the supermajority gets, they redistrict in 2010 because they just won, and it's been ever since. It's been.
And I think since that time, I mean, as far as statewide go, it's just been Joe Donnelly and Glenda Ritz.
But Joe Donnelly's first win was
because of
a fluke.
Yeah, well,
I mean, not that he wasn't a great candidate. I wish that fluke happened to me when I was running.
He took advantage of Murdoch's blunder.
Yeah, but Murdoch said then what all the Republicans are saying now. Funny enough.
True. So I think the sports analogy to what I call the buy dominoes was Andrew Luck, quitting on the Indianapolis. 2 weeks before the season began, and the Colts have not recovered since. They've had 5 starting quarter. They'll have their 6th starting quarterback and a different one in a row.
Hey, we're not shedding any tears up here in Bears country, buddy.
That's right. We've had like 30 quarterbacks since Sid Luckman or something. But
I grew up a Bear fan, by the way.
That's true.
I had the photo pass for the game in which Walter Payton broke Jim Brown's record.
Wow.
Occasionally, I'll see a clip of that, and I'm the guy wearing a blue and white blazer, running onto the field with my camera, taking pictures.
Ooh, I'll have to watch
cool.
for that.
I grew up a 49er fan, and I went to the Bears.
Yeah.
That was a good move.
Sorry.
That was a good move. They're going to the Super Bowl this year. Bears are 3-14.
Yeah,
So.
they were number 1 pick though, number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, man, that's
Thanks
great.
to the Texans
So I'm
scoring
psyched
on the
about
Colts,
them.
by the way.
One more story from the day Sweetness broke Jim Brown's rushing record was afterwards they put a tent in the end zone at Soldier Field, and they had a press conference, and somehow I ended up literally my shoulder was touching Walter's shoulder pad, and they had a call from President Reagan, and
Wow.
and I could hear the they didn't put him on the. I guess they didn't have speakerphones at that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I could hear Reagan. I was close enough to Sweetness that I could hear Reagan congratulating him.
Very cool.
It was amazing.
Right.
Wow. You know, Brian, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of handicapping what's going on the Republican Party, because it just seems like that side of both the Senate and the gubernatorial race for 2024 is already heating up. And I know you've reported on that. And I was just curious on how you see it shaping up, at least from what we have now and moving forward through the year.
Well, first of all, it seems early. I mean, it's still 20 months before the 2024 election,
Mm-hmm.
but then the primary is only 15 months away.
Right.
And we saw Mike Braun win that 2018 Senate primary by using his own money, starting a TV ad campaign in November, and basically, circumvented Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, the two congressmen that were in the race. So while it seems like it's a long way off, actually it's not. And Braun was able to win that Senate race, because he embraced Donald Trump. And Donald Trump did, I think, 5 different rallies. I remember Joe Donnelly telling me, I think he did like 3 rallies in the home stretch of that campaign.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
came to town.
Thought he needed like 1 million votes to win, and he got that, but the Trump wave basically swamped him. So it's going to be fascinating to see whether Mike Braun, now running for governor, tries to run in the Trump lane, and how powerful and influential Donald Trump is going to be, with Hoosier Republicans. I think he's probably got, firmly, 35%, in his corner. Now, the Lieutenant Governor, Suzanne Crouch, is running. She's a good fundraiser. She's been a partner with Governor Holcomb. And then we've got Eric Doden, the businessman from Fort Wayne who used to head the IEDC, self-funder also. So, we've got basically the sitting lieutenant female governor and 2 self-funders in that race.
Right.
It's going to be fascinating to see who runs. So one Republican operative suggested that Senator Braun was starting on third base. I actually think he may be on second base. And
He's acting like he's starting on third base. His team is very, very cocky, and they're talking crap about Eric Doden, of course, because he's never run before, and they're definitely talking crap about the lieutenant governor. Like, they're saying it to me, and I'm not exactly their best friend.
Picking out the drapes.
But they're literally measuring the drapes out. But you know what's shocking to me, Brian, is I think, first off, Governor Holcomb's a very reasonable governor. I've seen great governors, and I've seen, I think Governor Holcomb for a Republican is really very moderate, and he's doing a very reasonable job, and I think most Hoosiers appreciate the job he's done. And I know I do as a mayor of Hammond. And just to see how his party has turned on him and the lieutenant governor is one of the more shocking things I've seen in my career. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, I think that, if Mitch Daniels doesn't does decide against running for the open Senate seat, I think, Governor Holcomb's going to take a long, hard look at it. Jim Banks, the congressman from the northeastern Indiana, is in. But I think that race is going to develop further, and we'll have to see if Mitch Daniels actually gets in.
Yeah, I mean, you got Jim Banks calling, running or he's not running ads, but
Club for Growth.
Club for Growth is, and you've got them, Jim Banks' staff calling Daniels a rhino. I mean, it's just I guess sitting back as a region Democrat, I just shake my head. I'm like, wow, it has just turned.
Yeah,
it's turned. And then I guess, oh, there we go. What do we got?
Yeah, well, I plucked.
Oh, there you go.
This photo out of the Club for Growth ad, which says, it has a picture of Mitch Daniels that says, "No fight left."
Jeez,
wow.
I can imagine Mitch.
Oh.
Can you imagine Mayor Mitch Daniels seeing this photo? And he was a flyweight boxer, I guess, in high school and college. But
they even chose some Purdue colors for that lettering. So
I think that may get his dander up a little bit. So.
Yeah.
It would be. I mean, I thought, what's funny about when Governor Mitch was governor, him and I fought like crazy, but there was a very good respect between the two of us. We met often. I met with him as president of Purdue a few times. Like I thought Mitch and that wing of the Republican Party is, and I include Eric Holcomb in that, they're very reasonable people. And when they get into positions of power, they're not zealots like Governor Pence, for instance.
Right.
Who got in there and was just totally idealistic.
It's more of a fiscal and business perspective versus a social issue perspective.
Exactly.
I think for both Governor Holcomb, to lesser Governor Holcomb, more Governor Daniels, but Pence was always criticized for being too much social and not enough focusing on business. And I guess here's another question I got for you, Brian. Kind of the wild card in all this, at least early on, I just thought Todd Rokita is running for governor. He's gearing up. He's going to go AG and then go right to the governor's race. Now it kind of he hasn't said a peep about what he's going to do in 2024, and I'm curious if you're hearing anything about what our attorney general's thinking about doing.
Well, I mean, when you run against a self-funder and you get your shorts handed to you like Rex Early used to say, I don't need to slam my hand in the car door twice to so I'm thinking that maybe Todd Rokita is maybe deciding to serve a full term and maybe go for re-election and see how things stack up in a future election cycle, because there'll likely be self-funders, and of course if Mitch Daniels gets into that U.S. Senate race, he's not a self-funder, but he'll raise prodigious amounts of money. And so I think that's the reality that Rokita's looking at. But I don't know. I've been in touch with his guy. They're not making him available, and they're not really talking a lot.
Brian,
so
I ran into the Attorney General at the Conference of Mayors when I was campaigning, and him and I beat up on him a lot, but we're always nice to each other when we see each other in public. And I walk up to him, and I like calling the Attorney General's General because it just makes me crack up. I'm like, "Hey, General, how's it going?" And for some reason, I brought up that what Kevin just said. I said, "Yeah, you're probably getting ready for the big race, running statewide." And he said, "No, I think you're going to be shocked. I don't think I'm going to look at it." And he said this to me in probably August, Brian. And going to Kevin's point and going to your point, he hasn't done anything that would lead us to believe that he's getting ready for another run other than re-election.
Yeah, Todd's pretty young, and he's got a base of support, and he's run statewide 3 times now, and so I'm thinking he's looking at the clock and thinking, well, if I have to wait till 28, there'll be some opportunities there.
I appreciate you saying he's young. We're the same age, so that's nice of you.
And how old are you?
I'm 50, about to turn 54.
54. Okay.
So Spring chicken.
Young buck.
Full deck and 2 jokers.
That's right. That's right. That's what we call our podcast, funny enough. Well, Brian, I appreciate you coming on. We try to wrap up the show on time, and I want this to be a repeat performance. We've tried in the past to get you on. I'm so happy that we finally got this done.
Well, we'll tell your producer, John, that, he motivated me to download the Skype app.
And you look so great.
Do this via phone, but I did it this morning, and so now I'm ready to go. So let's do this frequently.
Awesome. You're the man. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you as a subscriber and a fan, because I've been reading you for over 20 years, Brian, and you're excellent. And a lot of the opinions I form and talk about obviously came from you, because I asked you a question. You answered exactly the same way I was leading, and it's obviously because I read you. But thank you for what you do, Brian. You do a great job for all Hoosiers, and we appreciate you.
Stateaffairs.com.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to covering you on the campaign trail.
Thanks, Appreciate you, Brian. Take care. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. That's Brian Howey, stateaffairs.com. Brian Howey's political report has been a fixture in our political scene.
That's cool.
That was a great interview.
Well, because we've literally been trying to get him on for the better part of 5 seasons, which spans about 6 months. But
there's a board right over there with his name written on it.
Yeah,
that was from season 1. So, that's awesome. Good job, John.
Thank you.
John even got a shout out.
John, you motivated him to download Skype.
How did he make it through the pandemic without Skype?
He must have been using Zoom.
Zoom.
He was talking
said
about
he's good on
Microsoft
Zoom.
Teams and Microsoft Teams. He was talking about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to ask him was like beyond the reporting, because this guy's clearly got his pulse on politics more than anyone.
Why didn't you ask him, man?
You guys were wrapping up at the time, but
Okay.
I was thinking like we may never get to interview him again. Who knows?
Oh, we'll get him. We'll get him.
But like beyond reporting,
No, we'll
does
get him,
he
we'll get
feel like a hopelessness or a hope in politics, or is he indifferent to that kind of
John,
feeling?
you should have asked him. That's a great question.
Well,
Because everyone feels now that politics, they've stopped representing the people. Like
Yeah.
I want to know what he feels like. Is there a way to turn this thing around?
damn you, man.
You know?
You should have asked that question, dude.
Well,
Snuck it
next
in,
time.
man.
Kevin
Next
and I
time
are
he's
all
on.
locked in on talk about personalities. You had the good question, man. You got to bust that out.
Well, good show.
Hey, the boss just walked in. What's up, Kellogg?
What's up, boss?
Hey, man. Nice to see you.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for all the hard
We're
work
in
you
trouble.
do. Something's wrong.
Your musk is nice.
Did we get sued again?
Don't
we
even-
get sued again?
Don't even say that.
Really?
Don't jinx us.
Is everything
It's not a
okay,
jinx,
Steve?
dude. We control this. It's in our own hands. so.
Everything's perfect.
Exactly.
Hey
Like I said.
guys, I want to point out next show. I indicated last show that there wouldn't be a Tuesday show, and I was wrong. There's going to be a Tuesday show.
gonna
There's
be a
gonna
good one.
Substitute Lockpod crew. This is the former mayor of Crown Point, and he's currently the head of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Dave Uran is going to bring his show on the road, and he's going to come into Lockpod Studios on Tuesday and do a special show about what's going on in the Convention and Visitors Bureau, what's going on in Northwest Indiana. Dave Uran's a former mayor of Crown Point, so he might talk a little bit of politics, but he's a great guy, very smart guy, and he's doing a great
And he's
job.
been on before. He's been a guest a lot.
And he's a former guest. There's this big bowling pin behind him. It's jarring for him because that's a day I bowled like a 200 and we kicked his butt. But Dave Uran is going to be doing the show on Tuesday. We have to take a retreat, Lockpod retreat. We're going to go off and discuss how to do better so that we can come back and give you the quality entertainment for the rest
So
of the
Steve
season.
doesn't have to pop in at the end of the show and look at us like you guys.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
going to tell
we
us.
need to bring
messed
your A
something
game.
up. So anyway, we appreciate you. Please tune in and you have a big audience waiting for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Mayor Dave. And ask them tough questions and make sure we have a good chat that day. And we will be back on the Friday show right after that with a special guest. So
Yes, we will.
we have we're working on an interview this weekend, and we're going to be airing it on Friday. Should I go ahead and say it?
Yeah, sure.
Matt Money Smith is going to be on there with us on Friday. So we got South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau doing the show on Tuesday, and then we're going to have special guest Matt Money Smith, Kevin's famous older brother or younger brother. Excuse me, famous younger brother who's famous. Did I mention he's famous?
Yes, you
Yeah.
keep reminding
Really?
me.
Is that hard to deal with when you have a famous older brother or younger brother like that?
Someone's got to keep the fame going.
Really?
Yeah. But he'll be he's going to be in town, so we're going to do it right here in the studio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to do Matt Money Smith on Friday. So we got a good week coming at you. We appreciate you very much, guys. And Jill, great to see you in the studio again.
Yeah.
I'll see you back next Friday.
I will be.
Jay Vez, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Smith, good to see you, bud.
Thank you,
and
Mayor.
we got to get this Lockpod retreat going. So bringing that quality entertainment back. Now you know why we're Indiana's most dangerous podcast, and we're very, very popular in Belgium. So thanks for